Welcome to the CTA Foundation CES interview series. My name is Steve Ewell, and I'm the Executive Director of the Consumer Technology Association Foundation. And I'm really pleased to be joined today by Mark Barlet, the founder and Executive Director of AbleGamers. Welcome, Mark. Glad to have you at CES this year.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, Mark, I love the work that AbleGamers does, and I've always been happy to be able to work with you and offer some support from the CTA Foundation, but really help to highlight the work that you're doing. But for those in our audience that may not know what AbleGamers does, can you just share a little bit about your mission and the work you do?
Sure. So AbleGamers' mission is to enable play in order to combat social isolation, foster inclusive communities to improve the lives of people with disabilities. And what that really means is that, I founded AbleGamers to really work to make sure that video games were accessible for people with disabilities because, I understood and was using in my own life video games to stay connected with my friends and to connect, with strangers and individuals and these shared goals. So, for 16 years, AbleGamers has been really working to make sure that this amazing, rich world of video games include people with disabilities.
Well, and I think that's such an important mission. And, this year you mentioned connection, and this year we've certainly seen social isolation become a major issue that people have been paying attention to as, we've all been staying home. And I know that has a particular impact on the disability community. How have you seen the adoption of gaming change throughout the year?
So we have seen statistics coming out that are showing that people are turning to games more than ever. We're seeing people using games to connect with people. But the truth is, for so many people with disabilities, 2020 looked just like 2017, 2018, 2019. Social isolation among the disability population is an ongoing epidemic that we've been fighting for such a long time. I really am excited if there is a silver lining to 2020 is that so many people are now understanding our mission in a real way because they themselves are using video games to connect. So, when we're having conversations and we're talking to people, our mission is starting to resonate with people that largely it may not have resonated with before because they are turning to video games to stay connected with their friends at school, their friends at work, people that they were used to being able to get in front of a lot of times and can't. And that's where video games just really let you, you have a shared mission and a shared goal, and you can chat and you can talk and you can have these really rich, meaningful social experiences in video games.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And it's been really interesting to see that conversation build this year. As you say, as more and more people are aware of the issues and the challenges and able to apply that to other areas of their lives. In addition to the work that you do, helping individuals game. You do a lot of work with the industry as well. Can you share a little bit about your accessible player experience practitioner course, as well as the new D-pad initiative?
Sure. So, when you look at people with disabilities and you look at the work that we do, we have a group of people in my peer counseling pillar that really work to connect physically disabled people, creating those custom controllers, those things that they need so that they can bridge the gap. But our mission is to improve the lives of people with disabilities. That doesn't just mean physical disabilities, but I'm really concerned about people with auditory disabilities and visual disabilities and, cognitive disabilities. I'm looking at the entire group of people that I want to support. So while I can create some custom controller to help a person with physical disabilities, there's nothing I can do outside the industry to, for example, put closed captioning in a game. So it became very clear in our mission that we had to work on both external to the industry and internal to the industry. So APX, Accessible Player Experience, is a set of patterns that were created through our user research team that we brought into the gaming industry, and it's taken off in the gaming industry. Major studios are using it. And then we basically advanced that and really started creating a certification program, finding those developers inside the studios that really were committed to creating accessible experiences and training them on all the things that they need so that they could identify accessibility issues in the making of their games, so they could suggest ways to mitigate barriers that they may be creating through design decisions, and arming them with information that allows them to win the argument should some executive, producer or something like that not think accessibility is so important. The D-pad initiative is an initiative where we have really wanting to create an industry that represents us as an organization. So D-pad is a way for us to give scholarships to underrepresented communities in the gaming industry. So we're targeting, people with disabilities that are working in the gaming industry, African Americans, women's, the LGBTQ plus community. And it's really us giving back, to an industry. And it's, for me, I'm a member of the LGBT community. I'm also a disabled veteran. And so, I want to see an industry that looks, more diverse, and because a diverse organization makes better games. And so this was a way for us, there is a cost associated with the accessible player experience practitioner training, but the organization or certain sponsors we have will go ahead and buy those seats, and that allows us to create that industry. It also allows us to put more developers in the studios creating those accessible experiences. So for us, it's a win-win, creating a more diverse game industry and creating more people out there making accessible experiences.
That sounds amazing. And representation it's such an important issue across the tech industry right now. And being able to have more people to get this training, to bring that to their companies, and then be able to build accessible games will just help across all the games and technology that we're able to see. In addition to that, I think it's important to look at representation within the games, and I know you've done some work on that as well. Can you share some of the importance around disability representation in gaming?
So yeah, as the industry has come around to the idea of accessibility in the game space, we are having big studios come to us wanting to make sure that they're telling a genuine story when they have a character that has a disability. So we are working with studios now and again to make sure that they're telling that proper story, or that they're representing. What we oftentimes do is we pair them with people that may have the disability that they're trying to represent and let that story go. So really, AbleGamers has kind of reached that position where we're more connecting than advising. But we're also doing it for the LGBT story. Someone will reach out to us and I'll connect them with, for instance, Gamer X or some other organization that's out there, because there is this push within the industry to make sure that we're telling genuine stories. And I love that. I love that so much.
Oh, absolutely. And it's important, just like we see in, movies and television, to also see that representation and be true about that representation within the games that we're playing. This year's, we've already touched on how it's been a big year as far as being able to create greater awareness around your mission, but that's also come with a lot of attention that you and your COO, Steve Spahn, your great partner over there, have been doing. You've been able to engage on, social media with, Ryan Reynolds and Jake from State Farm, and get a bunch of support from organizations like, Twitch and Sony and Pittsburgh Pirates and others. How have you been able to take advantage of all that support to just be able to further your mission?
It's a great question. As I said at the beginning of this, social isolation and the mission of AbleGamers had become, kind of important to everybody. And with that, we have received a lot of really great support, which is awesome, because we were only about 30% funded versus the demand on our organization's time. So really, my challenge in 2021 is to take, now that our mission is truly resonating with individuals, and individuals that can bring to bear a lot of capital into us is for me to smartly grow the organization and grow its capacity. You know, we need to in 2021 double from the 7 people we are. And I suspect, given the way the mission is going in 2022, we potentially need to double again. And so, really, my job is to really find smart growth so that we can bring this amazing support to bear to make our mission even greater and greater. So, we want to get the timeline for when we help people down to 30 days, versus 4 or 5 months, which it is now. So, 2021 is going to be another year where I'm not going to be able to do a lot of gaming anymore, because I'm going to be just really smartly growing this organization so that we can help more and more people.
Yep, that is the joy and the challenge of the leadership role in organizations like this. Is you have the passion for the issues and for the work, and it does cut down in the time to actually play with them.
But everybody always, one question everyone asks me is like, well, what are you playing? And I'm like, what do you mean, what am I playing? I don't have time to play video games anymore. I work, and then I go to sleep, and then I work some more. And like, the last thing I want to do is go home and sit in front of my PC all day. But, I have great coworkers that tell me about cool games that are coming out, and I, live my gaming world through them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, and I will say, having had the opportunity to work with you a bunch over the last, nearly 10 years that I've had a chance to know you, and just see the smart work that you've put into the strategic planning and building of the organization. I really am impressed with how you're continuing to grow and the plan that you have for moving forward. Here we are at CES 2021 digitally this year. And we're going to hear a lot of announcements this week. We're going to have a lot of conversation about what the emerging technologies are over the next few years. Are there particular areas of technology that you're excited for?
Yeah, I'm excited for your dog is very excited as well. I really want to just point that out.
Evidently she's decided it's the work from home time now.
Yep. But I'm excited about VR and AR. And I'm also excited that accessibility is being talked about in the early stages of this. I'm really excited with AR. I'm wanting to see what happens in an augmented reality. I want to see what happens if I had true AR glasses. I don't think I'm going to get those in 2021, but I think, when it comes to technologies that are really exciting me, that's one of the technologies I'm in really, following really closely. I want maps. I want to know when I'm walking around in a city, when we're allowed to do that again. Like, I want to look like I belong because my AR glasses told me to turn right there, and I'm not staring at my phone. That's a technology I'm really looking forward to. VR and seeing where VR is going, and the experiences. VR gaming I find very interesting, but I'm starting to see people using VR to tell stories and to kind of bring you to places that you may not be able to go to. And so I find that very, very interesting. Those sit down, remove myself from reality and kind of just experience something versus something active. Those are the things that are really exciting me in the future of technology.
I think those are all exciting areas, and I know we're going to have a lot of conversations around kind of XR across the spectrum at CES this year. But I also think it's exciting to hear some of the work that's already being done around accessibility with both VR and AR, because being able to build those technologies and make them more accessible will help all consumers as they're using these devices. And yeah, I can't wait. As you said, whether it's AR to give directions, or quite frankly, when I get back out on the conference scene and be able to remember who it was I met 3 years ago at one of these conferences, I'd love those kinds of cues. So
yeah, and the fact that the conversation, for so many new technologies, accessibility was a conversation that happened after the fact, and to really see that conversation going on, as the the technology is still really kind of in its infancy, I find very inspiring.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, if people want to know more about Able Gamers or support the work that you're doing, where should they go?
Well, it's really easy. AbleGamers.org is our website. So AbleGamers.org. You can follow Able Gamers on Twitter at AbleGamers and just about anywhere, Facebook/Able Gamers. We've kept it really simple, but come visit, see what our mission is all about.
Well, great, Mark. It's always a pleasure talking with you. And I really am impressed with all the work that you've been able to do. And I'm excited to see where it continues to go from here. So thank you for joining for this interview.
Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful CES.
Absolutely. And for the audience, if you're interested in learning more about the CTA Foundation, you can go to ctafoundation.tech. And I wish you a wonderful CES 2021.